Hello and welcome back to Whovian Espresso, and I feel like it's been a while since I've reviewed an actual episode of Doctor Who, and most of my reviews have been from the Chibnall era, or the most recent era, and I haven't really touched on any other eras and my opinions on those sort of stories, so I want to sort of, particularly as the 16th anniversary of New Who sort of rolls around, I want to sort of go back to the beginning of New Who, and hopefully this video does well. I'll continue to review at least all of Series 1, hopefully. But for now, putting all that aside, let's just focus on my review of the very first episode of New Who, where it all begins with the simple tale of a girl called Rose. Right off from the start, the episode begins with the opening titles. I really love this choice as it sort of feels fresh, also very alien and exciting, and really entices you to watch the episode in my opinion. I also really love the title, Rose. Although simplistic, I do feel like it really encapsulates this story and this era, as it is more companion-centric, which I really think helps to make it more relatable to a modern audience, really hammering home that the companion is really the anchor for the viewer. Next, we get a really great establishing shot of Earth from space. I feel like this is another great way to introduce the episode, making it as if it gives you a taste of the whole universe and what it has to offer, and then going straight into everyday life with Rose, providing what I think is a really great contrast. Then we get a great fast-paced montage of Rose's life. It gives us a great insight into sort of her everyday routine, establishing her mum Jackie and her boyfriend Mickey. It also really nicely shows us the sort of normality of her life, making it seem to the viewer that they could be in Rose's shoes in this story. The scenes at Henrik's really provides a really fantastic, creepy, foreboding vibe, which I think really nicely vamps up the tension as we start to see the dummies come to life and attack Rose. Then I really love how everything goes quiet as Christopher Eccleston delivers his first iconic line, "Run." This line is so simplistic, yet so impactful at the same time, setting up the running trope which we would see become synonymous with the show, even getting referenced as far back as the classic show. And I mean, from these scenes we also get a great feel for Christopher Eccleston's portrayal as the Doctor, and how it would work. His sort of everyday modern bloke performance, which I think was a big part of the show's early appeal in 2005. As although the Doctor had always been seen as quite an over-the-top and quirky, this incarnation is very down-to-earth and relatable, yet still has some quirky charm that the Doctor is known for. Next we come to Camille Kodori, who is really a fan favourite. She brings out some great comedic relief in this episode, with some really iconic moments which she has, especially the comedic timing she has with Christopher Eccleston, especially in the bedroom scene. We're also introduced to Mickey properly, who comes across as a bit of a stereotypically bad boyfriend, caring more about the football than his girlfriend. I can sort of forgive this as it was the first episode, and Mickey really does progress across the next two series. Next, we get a really great scene with Christopher Eccleston, a standout of his sort of performance in the role, where he talks about the turn of the Earth. He does this with a great sense of gravitas in this scene. He shows that he really acknowledges that he is dangerous and doesn't want to get Rose involved. Again, providing a real tense, foreboding moment, as we see that how life with the Doctor isn't just sort of a big holiday across time and space. It is dangerous and deadly, and there are really high stakes to play, and Christopher Eccleston really sells it. Next, we get the introduction of a character called Clive, who often gets memed, I think, particularly a lot. I can understand why. He is sort of a bit of a cardboard character, but however, he does sort of prove himself to be quite likeable nonetheless, making it seem quite sad when he does reach his demise at the end of the episode. He also acts as quite a nice sort of mirror for Doctor Who fans, a concept that would probably be later developed down the line in stories like Love and Monsters. I also like how it highlights JFK's assassination, which occurred infamously just the day before Doctor Who's debut in 1963. The collection of photos and sketches from throughout the time really nicely sets up the time travel element of Doctor Who, whilst also creating an almost mythic legend ethos for the Doctor, which helps to give the character some much needed depth and edge, after its purely sort of parody kind of reputation that it gained in the 1990s and early 2000s. If there's one criticism I have with this episode, it's by far the treatment of Mickey in this opening episode. Especially in this bin scene. It seems sort of very weird to me. The CGI hasn't really aged very well, and the bin coming to life doesn't have the same impact as, say, the plastic flowers or the troll doll in classic stories with Autons, such as Terror of the Autons and Spearhead from Space. It doesn't really make Mickey look good, as he sort of stupidly stumbles up in this bin, which, particularly for a city dweller like myself, seems particularly idiotic, as for instance, it's probably most likely that if you see a bin and it's sort of rumbling about like that, it means there's probably some kind of rodent in there, a fox or a rat, and something unpleasant nonetheless. I mean, it is something unpleasant, it's a living bin, but that's not the point. So I don't get why he would choose to investigate it, personally. And I really feel that the burp at the end, really, even if there was some kind of dramatic tension, that burp sort of kills that entire vibe. It just makes the scene hard to take seriously for me. I also think the makeup and performance on Plastic Mickey doesn't really work for me either. It sort of seems a bit too obvious that Mickey has been replaced. It doesn't do Rose any favours either, as it sort of comes across that she's so self-obsessed that she doesn't actually notice. However, when the mask is lifted and Mickey Duplicate goes on the rampage in the restaurant, it does really pick up again, and the screams of the diners in the restaurant never ceases to make me laugh. For me, the best part of the entire episode has to be Rose discovering the TARDIS. A true highlight of the series, and Billie Piper really sells her reaction to the TARDIS, which helps it to make it more believable. I really thought the music in this scene was on point too, providing a great emotional, majestic feel to the scene. The design of the RTD TARDIS is also gorgeous, and still stands out as one of my favourite TARDIS designs of all time. I love the steampunk meets coral vibe of the design, really feeling alien, and also looks stunning in person when I saw it in the Doctor Who experience many moons ago. The scene on the South Bank really kickstarts the Doctor and Rose's friendship for me. I love that Rose questions the Doctor's morality towards Mickey, openly showing that these concepts are alien to him. It also explains the TARDIS really well for new viewers, and gives us a really iconic line such as "all planets have a north" and "fantastic", which are all synonymous with the Ninth Doctor. I really liked the location of the factory vat sort of station thing, really sort of added to the grimy industrial feel of the episode. I also really think the way that the Nestine is utilised in the story is really good. It nicely sort of walks the balance of being a returning classic villain without overwhelming new viewers. I also love how villains are sort of grounded in reality, making seemingly innocent plastic look like a deadly villain. The Doctor's speech to the Nestine is another highlight of Series 1 for me. It really shows the Doctor's pain and the loss of his planet. This is really driven home by Eccleston's performance and really adds to the depth of the character. Again, something that was really needed to make the show more appealing to a modern audience. It also adds to the mythic nature of the Doctor's character, as shown by the Nestine's reaction to cowering in fear at the sight of the TARDIS and quickly securing the Doctor. There is a really good suspenseful build-up to the shop window dummies' attacks, really aided by the score and putting Jackie at the centre of the danger. I really like this move if they put Clive there too, which I feel really adds to the stakes, making it feel like the stakes are much higher. Jackie really steals these scenes with her reactions of desperate panic, and it also adds to the scale of the invasion in a way that the classic series couldn't because it was restricted by budget. I think one of the defining moments for Rose's character in Series 1 is the scene where she saves the Doctor. This really reverses the status quo of the show really well, giving the companion a powerful moment and showing them on a more equal power balance to the Doctor. I do feel that Mickey clinging to the TARDIS in this scene is a bit comedic, and I do kind of feel like Mickey has dealt a bad hand in these early episodes, if I'm honest. The final scene really provided a great choice scene for Rose. Does she stay with her normal life to continue eating chips and work and be with Mickey, or go on the trip of a lifetime and see ghosts, Jagrafests and Daleks. I like that it sort of foreshadows Father's Day in a way, as she only chooses to travel with the Doctor as the TARDIS also travels in time. This gives Rose more depth as a character, giving her a deeper reason for the choices that she makes, like the possibility of saving her father, which really drives her character, I think. Finally, I really love that the scene ends on a cliffhanger. It gives the series a sense of fluidity, leading nicely into the next story, something that I'm glad got picked up again in more recent stories such as in series 11 and 12. In conclusion, does Doctor Who's big comeback still hold up? Its forward-thinking vision for what the show should be like really invigorated the show in 2005, as it seemed like a long-since-lost sci-fi show. Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper really do prove themselves in this story, setting up one of my favourite Doctor companion duos of the modern era, as well as slick pacing and writing from Russell T Davies and a really moving score from Murray Gold, which really enhances the scenes and performances in the episode. Although some aspects of the episode do let it down a bit, such as the introduction of Mickey, which stops it being from a full 10 out of 10. So overall I would give Rose a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, it would mean the world to me if you considered subscribing or sharing this video. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on Rose, and I hope you have a lovely day. Happy birthday, new Doctor Who.